Okay guys, so today's video is going to be pretty short. It'll be running through what we bought for the XA with you. It's a complete GS dash. I believe it's an early XB GS dash, and I was under the impression it was a 302 GS sedan, Fairmont, something like that, because it had the 240 km/h Speedo, which is why I believed it was a V8 one, not the 6. I thought the 6s had a 220k Speedo, but I could be wrong. And it had the 6,000 RPM tacho, which is 302 GS or 6-cylinder. 6-cylinders redlined at 4,900 and the 302's redlined at 5,200. This one's a 4,900, so we're gonna have to send the gauge out and have the tacho either recalibrated or checked in case it is a low RPM redline V8 one, but I doubt it. I'd say it's a 6. Either way, the rest of the gauges are the same and they all work, so it's good enough. In pretty good nick for the price we paid. It's not stupid money like a lot of guys are asking, and it was pretty much complete. Came with a loom, which I misread and thought it was a factory GS loom, but it turns out that it's a standard loom. So we'll just do a run through on what the dash looks like and the fascia, a bit of an explanation about what's going on. You can modify the standard looms to work with the GS dash, which we're going to do, but I've managed to find one that has been mocked up already, and I'm getting that sent over so we can copy that one. So when that arrives, eventually, probably take a week or two, it's coming out of Western Australia. We'll run through the differences between the two, and I'll show you how to cut up a factory 500 dash wiring harness and convert it to the GS/GT one. So for now, just a short one on what we've got, and again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Hi everyone. So yesterday we managed to track down a GS dash for the XA after looking for a fair while. It's reasonably tidy, does need a few little repairs, bits and pieces need to be cleaned up. All the gauges are going to get sent out and tested because they've been sitting in a box for a lot of time by the looks of it. I thought it may have been a 302 V8 GS dash, but it could very well be a 6-cylinder one. So when we send it out, we'll have the tacho checked, and if it's a 6-cylinder one, we'll get them to recalibrate it at the same time, and we'll also get them to take out the original voltage regulator and put an electronic one in, so it's a bit more reliable and got stable power to the gauges. What made me think it was a 302 V8 dash was the Speedo is a 240 km/h gauge. I thought most of the 6s were 220, but the tacho goes to 6,000, but it has a 4,900 RPM redline instead of a 52, which the 302s should have been a 5,200. The GT's obviously got the 7,000 dash, whatnot, but that's neither here nor there. Came complete with the fascia and a loom, but the loom turns out to be a standard loom, and when we get you in and have a look at that one, what we've got is you can convert them. Never done one myself, but I may even look to see if there is someone that's got a GT or a GS loom that we can get or copy. That plug there that goes into, where they are, on the back here, into there, same plug, but it's got different pinouts on it. So by memory, I can take the wires out of there that would have gone to the original idiot lights and the fuel and temp gauge that would have been sitting there, and wire them up the top. And then the tacho signal on an XA, at least I know, is there. Where are we here? I'm not sure about the other models, but if we undo the harness going down to the temp sender and pull it up here on the XA Falcons, when you look at the loom going down there in the engine bay, strapped into that there, if we take that tape off, which I can't do left-handed, undo that. The factory has our tack signal connector. So all you have to do on an XA, I think the XBs are similar, is take that one, plug him into your coil negative, and then that goes through to the factory dash. So it's already pre-wired in the engine bay harness side of things. So then where the dash loom plugs in up here, on these ones under the dash, should have the tack signal going up to here. I've just got to work out what colour loom harness it is in the loom and go from there. None of the manuals I've got have got wiring diagrams that are good enough for that. I'm going to have to hunt around and see what I can find. So by what I'm aware of, engine bay is definitely right. This side, as far as I know, has the wire from there to there already for the tacho. If it's not, then it's just a case of taking one of these ones that we don't use and pinning it out up to here to get the tack signal from there to there. So that side of things is easy enough. Things like this group of lights here are the ones that went across the top for your seat belts, seat belts, brake warning, alternator, and the oil pressure. Now this fascia doesn't have oil pressure written on there, so the idiot light that would have went to there, which I think is this one, you can take the signal wire out of that and run it across to the oil pressure gauge in there, which on the back here there's our white one there, which should be the white one that went to the idiot light for the oil pressure. So all in all, it shouldn't be too hard of a swap, but I do need to find a original wiring diagram so I can confirm the wires first and then go from there once we've had that all tested up. So as far as the row of idiot lights up here for the belt warning, the alternator and the brake fail light and park brake light go, they'll all stay connected with the factory harness. Probably even run the possibly run the oil pressure idiot light to there if I put a T-piece on there and run two different senders, one for the gauge, one for the idiot light, just in case. And then as far as these up here go, which one is it? The fuel gauge on there is where I was talking about the voltage regulator. So the Fords will have 12 volts coming in, and then inside there in the gauge, or it's behind the gauge, is a little breaker contact that's constantly opening and shutting. They're 50-something-year-old now. They fail. When they fail, they'll normally fail shut and then send full 12 volts to all of the gauges across the top instead of 6 volts. 6? I think it's governed down to 6. In which case it then fries all the gauges and they're now useless. So you can bypass that and run a electronic regulator down in there, and then from there it will then supply regulated voltage up here, which will then take it to both gauge blocks. This one over here, the red and white wire, is going to be for the temp sender, which should just be the standard one coming in the normal loom. Instead of being routed down to the gauge, it'll go up to there. The green one there should be the signal wire coming for the original fuel sender, which we can bypass up to there instead of going through here again. The white one over here for the oil pressure, KPA one there, that will again be routed away from the oil pressure light and up to, where will it go? Up to here. This one here is your voltage, your volt gauge, amp gauge. Can't remember what they were on the XB. Voltage. So that one down there. So the battery volt gauge, that will be a hot wire that comes straight from the alternator, directly up here, a green, and then an earth. And that will give us what the alternator is charging at. So that's unregulated straight alternator voltage up to there. I'll see if we can get these things off and just have a look inside. I'll do that when I've got two hands. We'll have a look inside, and if that voltage regulator is already played up and had a bit of a fit and cooked the gauges, what you'll do is you'll see that there's like a black burn mark in there, in which case the gauges could well be cooked and not usable. So grab a screwdriver. Okay, so we had a bit of an issue there, the card was full. So now we can get these to undo without breaking any plastic. Have a look in through, where's that got to come off now? Here. So not knowing whether these are actually working or not is always a bit of a pain, but they were out of a car for so long. The guy that I bought them off may very well have bought them from someone that sold him stuff that wasn't working anyway in the first place, because he's had them for a long time. There we go. So now scared everything's too brittle, I don't want to break it. So now if we have a look here, what's this one? The glasses aren't really doing a hell of a lot. Cool. They appear to be good and not burnt out, or at least that one does anyway. Don't know if you can see this. Let's see if we can get the screen down here. So in the back here, try and get some light on it. Down in there, those little strips there. Light's terrible, I know, sorry. And that one there will be an ashy black, and these aren't. These are a little bit dusty and a little bit worn, but they're not ashy black, so they haven't been cooked. Which means that that one, or that set of gauges there, is usable. So that's always a bonus. And the sweep, nice and tight. Yeah, okay, so those ones appear okay. Okay, so we'll sit that there for now. We'll pop this other one apart quickly and have a look at him. it's the one that's got the voltage regulator tucked in the back of it. And yeah. Uh-oh. It's not stuck. So that first one in here, see if I can get this to, so in here you've got two, and there's the contact there on the outer. See if I can see it from this side. So that one there is the regulator that opens and shuts to operate the gauge. Now this one here, which is our temp gauge, that strip in there looks a little black. So I'm just trying to tell because my eyesight's terrible even with the glasses. Hopefully it's still usable. Got good return on the bimetal. Nothing seems to be broken. So it's really just the supply going into that one there. But in saying that, the voltage regulator is not black and ashy at all. So it could be just a case of the temp gauge possibly needing a bit of a go over. Hopefully. Suppose not going to know till we send it out, are we? So no point guessing, but it looks all in all like it's still usable. So yeah, first things first, we'll get those out to someone like Otto's Instruments, line of Lotto down there, or there's a guy at Logan Home that does dashes and gauges as well, if I can remember his name. So there's a couple of guys in Brisbane that are pretty good. We'll get those out and get them checked, and yeah, we'll see how usable they are. That's the only one I've got a question mark on, the temp one, but touch wood, it's all good. Alright, so that's a short one for this week. The weather's terrible, no good for painting, and we wasted our time, well not wasted, we mucked around going to have a look for one of these and we found one, so one step closer. Thanks guys, see you next time.